Hola colegas, yo soy Dr. Lebrun. En este video voy a explicarles el poema Mientras por competir con tu cabello. So in this video we'll switch back and forth between Spanish and English. Spanish so that you can read about it and write about it to get ready for your big test. But then I'm going to explain things to you in English so that you can understand it at a deeper level. And then be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video so that you can try a practice activity. And then I'm also going to give you a summary to help you memorize the poem. All right, vamos a empezar. Aquí tenemos información sobre el autor, el título y el movimiento. Nuestro autor es Luis de Góngora. Él nació en 1561 y murió en 1627. El título es Mientras por competir con tu cabello. El movimiento literario es barroco. Los años son 1580 hasta 1700. Y este pertenece al siglo de oro y los años son 1500 hasta los 1600. All right, so our author is Luis de Góngora. And for your big test, typically you can just put the last name Góngora, if that makes it a little bit more simple for you to memorize. And then the first step that we want to do is just understand, what does the title mean? Sometimes the titles can be confusing. Sometimes students get one word mixed up on the title and then they start writing their essay and they completely take it in the wrong direction because they did not understand just one simple word. So the title translates as while competing with your hair. So typically students might use the word pelo for hair. That might be a little more common, but also the word cabello is common as well. But notice cabello, it's similar to the word caballo. So oftentimes, maybe in Spanish 1, students will learn the word caballo, which is just off by one letter from cabello. And they might start writing an essay about some beautiful horse, but it's actually about how beautiful this lady is and how beautiful her hair is. And you could see in the thumbnail on the lady, it's Nacimiento de Venus por Botticelli. So the ideal beauty that they're trying to describe here is this painting by Botticelli named The Birth of Venus, and that's kind of what they're going for. And you can take a look at the lady's beautiful flowing hair. And then this is part of the Siglo de Oro, Spain's golden century, or the golden age of Spanish literature, which is the 1500s and the 1600s, and all relates to the Spanish history, which we're going to take a look at in just a moment. Right, ya vamos a mirar unos elementos del barroco. Hay metáforas, eufemismos, neologismos y alegorías. Y se usan colores, sonidos e imágenes para darle perfección al poema. Okay, so some of the elements for Baroque. Baroque can be kind of tricky to understand. It's got metaphors, it's got allegories. So they might just be talking about some lady's hair, but there's a deeper meaning to all this stuff. There's a metaphor, there's an allegory a little bit deeper. So it's not just literal stuff, but you kind of have to understand it at a deeper level. Euphemism might be a word like death. Instead of saying somebody has died, you might want to say that they passed away. It's a little bit softer to talk about that. And then neologismos can be new words that the authors are creating. So again, the Baroque is probably the most challenging literary movement to understand. For me, it is anyways. And it might be just some different colors, sounds, images that they're using to kind of paint a picture in your head about what the poem is about. Aquí tenemos el código histórico sobre lo que está pasando en España. Se ve pesimismo porque España está en decadencia por la contrarreforma, la colonización de las Américas y la expulsión de los judíos y los árabes. All right, so in the 1500s, things are going very well for Spain. There's a lot of new territory that has been conquered in the Americas, and the gold and the silver and the wealth are flowing into Spain. Now in the 1600s, which is the Baroque period, you see a lot of wealth in the literature because the words have a lot of ornamentation to them, but Spain is now in decline. So we can use that word decadencia or declive. There's the Counter-Reformation is going on. The Protestants and the Catholics are fighting. Anytime you've got a war, it's going to cost your country money. the colonization of America. I thought that just meant things were going well. Well, it was at first, but now people in Spain have realized they can just go to the Americas and get their own gold. They don't need to wait for somebody to bring it to them. So the best and the brightest of the Spaniards are leaving the country. And then the expulsion of the Jewish people and the Arabs. If you remember, that took place in 1492. Well, the Jewish people were involved in banking and accounting. So if you've got a lot of wealth coming in, but you don't have anybody to keep track of it, that's not good. And then the Arabs had a lot of influence in the universities. So now maybe you've got people who have a lot of wealth, but now they're not educated anymore. So all that stuff leads to the decline of Spain, which we see in the pessimism of the Baroque style, mainly the 1600s in Spain. Ok, vamos a mirar unos recursos literarios. Aquí tenemos un ascendentón, la omisión de conjugaciones de línea 11, oro, lilio, clavel, cristal luciente, hiperbatón, cambiando el orden de las palabras para mantener la rima, línea 4, mira tu blanca frente el lilio bello, y anáfora, repetición de la primera palabra, línea 1, mientras. All right, so these are some literary devices you might need to be able to identify and then give examples of on your test. So ascendenton is the omission of conjugations. So typically you might have an and if you have a list of things. It could also be enumeración, enumeration. So gold, lily, clavel, cristal luciente. Typically you might have an and there or an e to separate that stuff. They don't have that. And they're doing that for a specific reason, to keep it 11 syllables, most likely. Hyperbaton. You can think of how Yoda speaks from Star Wars. Here they're switching around the typical word order for the rhyme, and we're going to talk about the rhyme scheme in just a little bit. So here it's translating as the beautiful lily looks to your forehead, your white forehead, because it's so beautiful, because it's even more beautiful than the white lily. Typically we might say it in that order, but here they're saying looks your white forehead, the lily beautiful. So it doesn't sound natural, and that's hyperbaton. Purposes for the rhyme scheme. And anaphor, they're repeating the first lines, mientras, 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 while this is happening. Okay, so that's going to be anáfora. All right, vamos a mirar la métrica del soneto. El soneto tiene 14 líneas. Tiene dos cuartetos, 4 líneas, 2 tercetos, 3 líneas. Y tiene el esquema de rima de A, B, B, A, B, B, A, C, D, C, D, C, D. So the sonnet is going to always have 14 lines. There's a certain form to it. The metric is 14 lines. It's going to have 2 quartets, meaning it has 4 lines in the stanza or a strophe. And then it's got 2 of the 3 lines, the tercet. And then the rhyme scheme is always going to be A, B, B, A, B, B, A. And then the last part can vary depending. So you're going to have to double check that before you write about that on your test. All right, empezaremos con una práctica. Identifica el tema de Carpe diem dentro del poema y da ejemplos específicos del texto. All right, so just pause the video for some time to work. So you can see if you can identify this theme of Carpe diem. That's a Latin term that we need to know about. And then see if you can find some specific examples from the text. All right, do some work. I will give you my response, my answer, and then also a quick summary, a 5-line summary after that. Aquí tenemos mi ejemplo. El tema de Carpe diem significa vivir en el presente y gozar al momento. En el principio del poema, la mujer es bella, línea 4. Mira tu blanca frente, el lilio bello. Al fin del soneto termina en la muerte, líneas 13 a 14. Mas tú y ello juntamente, en tierra, en humo, en polvo, en sombra, en nada. All right, so the theme Carpe diem means to seize the day, which means to live in the moment or enjoy the present. An example of that can be, the lady starts off being beautiful. Mira Tu blanca frente el lirio bello. The lady is so beautiful that the white lily looks to her white forehead. The beautiful lily looks to her white forehead. And then how does it end? It ends in death. This beautiful lady, she turns into earth, into smoke, into dust, into shadow, into nothing. And then notice how the ending of the poem is like stepping down, stepping down, stepping down, stepping down. That could be gradación, a gradation to that. So anyways, that's kind of my example of how I'm coming up with how this poem relates to Carpe diem. And yo tengo un resumen para ustedes con 5 líneas sobre Mientras por competir con tu cabello. El autor es Luis de Góngora. El movimiento es barroco. El tema es Carpe diem. La métrica del poema es soneto. El pesimismo refleja la historia de España. So again, the author is Luis de Góngora. And typically you just need to know the last name to keep it simple. Baroque is the movement. Carpe diem is the theme for seize the day. And notice that it's el tema. A lot of people want to mix that up, but there's a whole list of words that end in ma that are masculine. Another example is the next one. It's el poema. There's a whole bunch of words that come from Greek origin and in ma, so please don't mix those up. La métrica, or the meter, is a sonnet. And the pessimism of Spain, what's going on in the 1600s, even though it's called the golden age of Spanish literature, because there's still a lot of literature being produced. In the 1500s, it was good things about Spain. Now in the 1600s, it's pessimism about Spain. All right, gracias por ver. All right, hopefully that helped you get ready for your big exam. And be sure to check out my other videos. Hasta pronto. Ciao.